Guys, we're back on the Screen Team, being joined by Sue at the Poplar Bluff Public Library, where we're going to kind of delve into what you can find at the library. But first, Sue's going to tell us about a hot new movie, or at least I think it's hot. She's going to let me know whether it's hot or not. Sue, we're going to be talking about the movie The Equalizer 2 with Denzel Washington, right?
That is correct. And I guess I'll start out. If you're a Denzel Washington fan, and you don't mind a little violence or a great deal of violence, then please come see this one. And it's Equalizer 2. It is actually the first sequel that Denzel Washington has ever made.
That's
even though
amazing.
he's left others open for sequels, it is the first one that he has done. And he's pure Denzel Washington, that low-key, understated person that he is,
Sure.
and that it comes across on the screen. And I can't help but like it because it is Denzel, but I also have to say that I like it because I always look for justice in the world, but I also look for revenge sometimes, and this has a little bit of both in it.
Yeah. So I haven't seen the Equalizer series at all. I haven't seen the first one or this one. What is Denzel? Is he a hitman? Is he just a total, I can't use the word I want to use. Is he just a bad dude? You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no. Denzel Washington actually is in this as the character, is a former Marine.
Okay.
And as a former Marine, he was in hot spots across the world, and so gained some skills in the Marines that what I would call special forces kinds of things.
Sure.
And so he knows he's probably worked for the CIA, and in fact he supposedly is dead. Not anyone knows that he's alive except one of his former co-workers or spies, and they know exactly who he is. But as I said, this man comes with a lot of special forces type skills. I think the movie is best summarized by one of the lines, and I'm not going to be able to quote it exactly because I didn't have my pen and paper whenever I was watching it Saturday. But Denzel makes the statement, and to someone was why he was doing this, and he says, sometimes you get the opportunity to make life better or make the world better.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take that opportunity. And in Equalizer 1, he does this, Equalizer 2. But what he comes across is low-key. In one of the scenes in Equalizer 1, he's seen playing chess with a man in the middle of Central Park, and they're just having a conversation, and it's just casual. But then you come and see him later on in Equalizer 2, and he's a Lyft driver. And he listens in on what's going on with his passengers, and
Right.
and here's some of the things that they're doing. He hears about those who have problems, and he hears about those who are just there. And those that have problems, I think he tries to help in some way. We see a full circle of him helping those people with problems. There's an older gentleman who is a survivor of the Jewish Holocaust, and he's looking for a particular painting that had been in his family for years, and he keeps running against brick walls, and it's not so much that he wants the painting, but it's the only picture that he has of his sister.
Yeah.
And he believes that his sister is gone forever. This is resolved at the end, and I don't want to give it away.
Sure. Can you talk about Denzel and some of the action sequences in this film? When I see Denzel, I love Denzel Washington, great dramatic actor, but I've never seen him as an action hero. How is he in this movie?
Well, he is, and he's actually done more than one. I can't remember the one where he's one of the bad guys, and he actually is supposed to be the good guy, and he's undercover as a bad guy, and he takes advantage and wants to do it purely for money. If anyone has ever seen American Gangster,
Yeah, it's a great movie.
and if
Yeah.
you remember, he is a bad dude in
Yeah.
American Gangster. Russell Crowe plays opposite of him, and Russell Crowe is the good guy, and Denzel, and you'd think it'd be the opposite way, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But he's a drug lord in that one. And in fact, I want to bring forward that in the Equalizer 2, there is one scene that it looks like it came directly from American Gangster. I had to look at it. And I even went back and checked who the director was, because I was thinking, well, maybe it's the same director.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't. It was Ridley Scott for American Gangster.
Yeah.
And it's not in this one. It's Antoine Fuqua who does it. And also, this is his first sequel that he's ever done. So you think, you think of him as being low key. You think of him not being a violent character. You think more of a preacher's wife or some other things like that he's
Sure.
done. He's done some low key comedy, and he's intense. I think that's all. But that intensity doesn't come out until you get into the violent scenes, because all the time, even leading up to each of those scenes, he is low key.
Sue, can you answer this question for me? Who is Owen Bean?
Orson Bean.
Orson Bean.
Orson Bean.
But who's Owen Bean? Tell me who Owen
I
Bean.
have no idea who Owen Bean.
Who is Orson Bean?
At least I'm
Sue?
honest, right? I didn't make anything up. Orson Bean's brother. Yeah. Orson Bean is the one who plays, like I said, the Jewish survivor. And Orson Bean is a comedic actor from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And he played on To Tell the Truth. He was one of the panelists on To Tell the Truth.
Yeah.
I have asked 3 or 4 people who are younger than I who Orson Bean
Even
is,
me.
and no one knows who he is. And I can remember him from television. Of course, my husband remembers him. But Orson Bean, again, was this low-stated, and he would ask questions, but he'd have these quips in between so that there was these comedic moments.
Sure.
And I could see where he and Denzel Washington might get along and might talk, because there's that kind of low-stated, understated, I should say, way that they have of doing things. But he has this part. He probably doesn't have more than 5 to 10 minutes total in the whole film. But it's one of those wonderful stories. And that's the thing about Denzel Washington. There is a part of this film that relates directly to him. And as in all of these types of films, they're after him. But there's the part where he is trying to help others become. And there's this really tender relationship between him and a young man who is of high school age. Now, Mr. McCall, who is the character that Denzel plays, as I said, he's understated. He lives in an apartment. He's made friends with his neighbors. This is set in Boston for the most part. And this young man, while we don't really know for a fact that he painted a mural on the brick wall, which defaced the wall. Mm-hmm. And instead of Denzel confronting him, he very slowly but surely befriends the young man, and the young man eventually starts to clean up the wall. But at the same time, Denzel's concerned about him, that he is becoming involved with drugs, his brother and some other people that are there. And Denzel intervenes very directly and forcefully, and to the point I'll even say that there are guns involved, in not only with getting the young man out of this group of people. Mm-hmm. That goes back to the scene from American Gangster, and then bringing him out and says to him, you cannot blame others for who you are or what you are. You need to make sure you move forward. So it's also at the same time, I think, goes along with the film, is don't be a victim. Take control. Make yourself who you want to be. And I think that's a good message. And usually we think of Denzel trying not to be so direct with his messages, but I think he does it subtly in all of his films. He brings that message across.
Can you give us a message on the Poplar Bluff Public Library,
Yes,
Sue?
one of my favorite places in the world. I think I live there, and that's okay. It's www.poplarbluff.org, and that's the best place to go to see everything that's going on. But also, like us on Facebook, Poplar Bluff Municipal Library, because you get all of the events that are going on at the library, and there are many, many events going on. I can't think of any other place in town besides Three Rivers and maybe some others that have so many different events going on simultaneously. And I'm not bragging much. But think about it, folks. You get books, you get movies, you get your audiobooks, and you don't even have to step in the library. You can get your library card, and you can get all your e-resources from your home. Just come in and renew your card every couple of years. So, you don't even have, if you don't want to come to the library. And I said this to someone the other day. I said, for some folks in this town, in our community, the library gives a lot of pleasure for very little money. And I think that's what I would like to have my message say to you all. And I have a new title for myself. And actually, I could give myself 2 of them, but I'm just going to call myself the Info Sorceress.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool, dude.
Well, I'm a sorceress and I find information. So, and I seem to pull it out by magic. What is it you always tell me, Chris? I come with all my pieces of paper and
You
ready
sure
to go.
do. She's ready for sure. That's Sue. I'm Chris. We're all part of the Screen Team. And remember, we want you to know before you go.